What we done started. Look at what we done started. This the people party.
Peace and love, party people. It's Talib Kweli. That's right. I am still in the Ohio trap house because I'm still in the log cabin. I still don't got reception. So we at the little motel down the street. Shout out to my lovely and talented co-host of the world's best podcast, The People's Party. We got Jasmin Leigh in the place to be. How you doing, Jasmin?
Talib, I can't even contain my excitement right now. Can I give a little hint?
Are you excited?
Yes.
Are you excited?
You know why?
Why are you excited?
Because it's murder.
Well, you gotta let me do the intro, Jazz, before you give it up. But yes, it's definitely all about Murder Inc. today. Today, our guest is a legend of the New York hip-hop scene, the East Coast hip-hop scene, the global hip-hop scene. He's a 2-time American Music Award nominee, 4-time Grammy nominee, sold millions and millions of records worldwide, platinum success, all of that. But this is about the culture. So beyond the success of the sales, this is an MC who tells very vivid stories. Grew up in the legendary hip-hop neighborhood of Hollis, Queens. His first album, Venni Vetti Vecci, in 1999, made him almost instantly a household name. Then you got Rule 336 in the year 2000. He kept coming with albums, one a year, an amazing pace. I'm talking about Pain is Love, The Last Temptation, Blood in My Eye, Rule, Pain is Love 2. He got a new album coming. He's definitely going to tell us the status of. He's also an actor, movies, television, including the movie I'm in Love with a Church Girl, which changed his whole life around. He's a cameo king with tons of credits in movies. I'm talking about Assault on Precinct 13, Scary Movie 3, The Cookout. We're talking about a man who even the tough parts of his story are integral to hip-hop's history. He brings a huge energy, a big personality, serious skill to his songs. Ladies and gentlemen, Ja Rule is in the motherfucking house on the People's Party today. Give it up.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
They're going to think I slid you a couple of hours for that intro.
Well, this show is all about the culture, and this show ain't, with all due respect, ain't Yana Van Zant, Dr. Phil, Oprah, you know, all the blogs and all that. It ain't all that. This show is about celebrating the culture and giving people their flowers. And we're not going to shy away from the shy questions, but we're going to give people their props for what they contributed to the culture every time. You know what I'm saying?
I love that. I love that.
Now, when I first started my career, I don't know if you remember this, but I met you at the beginning of my career because I was down with a group called Mood from Cincinnati, Ohio. They were signed to Blunt TVT back in the day. And so when I was hanging out with Chappie in the hallways and DJ Irv and Mike Geronimo, I would run into the Cash Money Click.
Big shout to Mike G.
Yeah.
Word.
No doubt. So that was my first introduction into the music business, is seeing how y'all took what y'all were doing in Queens and brought it downtown to the Blunt TVT offices, and really how y'all used that as a springboard to do bigger and better things.
Yeah, man, I miss those days, man. Things were a lot simpler, you know what I'm saying?
That's true.
We used to go up to them offices, man, and, you know, we was kids, man, you know, dreaming big. You know, I really didn't even have platinum dreams then. I just wanted to go gold, you know, and that was just the era we was in, and it was just a good time for hip-hop, you know what I mean? We were still growing as a culture, which was... You know, an amazing thing to be a part of, still watching the culture, still, you know, being the first to do, or the first, you know, to get awards and things of that nature. It was an amazing time in hip hop, man. Amazing MCs, amazing stories, you know. Even the TVT times. Like, I remember going up to TVT and sitting, going in that, you know, remember the conference room, that little conference room? We go in there, and Gil Scott-Heron would be in there. And we'd be in there, and we just go kick it with Gil. Smoke, you know, Gil would be smoking his joints, and we go smoke some joints with Gil. And Gil, you know, will put us up on game. You know, Gil was telling us about... you know, bad contracts and, you know, stuff like that then. But, you know, we didn't care. We just kids. We just, you know, at the time, he was just the wise old head telling us real stories until we really learned who Gil was, you know. So it's so much history, man. It's a hip hop.
That's
Is
crazy.
amazing, man.
Because my whole style is informed by Gil Scott-Heron. He ended up becoming a family friend before he passed away, but he ended up recording on the Reflection Eternal album and Black Star. We recorded a song with him that we never finished his vocal parts, but the song on the Hurricane soundtrack, Little Brother, that we had written with him. But yeah, man, Cash Money Click days, that was a big deal for Queens. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And, you know, you became sort of the big breakout voice of that group. Chris Black was sentenced to prison.
My brother,
You know,
big shout to Black. What up, Jody?
Yeah, definitely. Talk about the beginning of that group and how that group formed.
You know, that formed out of you know, just me being a young, hungry MC with my other partner at the time, 01. We was just, you know, hungry dudes, just, you know, wanting to get our foot wet in the music business. But we wasn't really serious about it like that at that time. You know, we was still on the block hustling. You know, that's how we all kind of clicked up. We all used to be right there on 25th and Hollis. That was our block. We used to be, you know, so Chris Black, you know, he was like the lieutenant on the block. And, you know, we was all, you know, just getting our money up there working. So he used to come back on the block with these mixtapes that he used to go make with Mike Geronimo and DJ Irv at the time.
DJ Irv, right?
Yeah, big shout out to my brother Gotti. And he come back to the block with the tapes and be flossing on us like, yo, you know what I'm saying? And he wasn't even the rapper like that. So it was like, yo, hold up, man. Like, we the niggas trying to do the rap shit a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, let us go to the studio with Mike Geronimo and Irv and shit. So
shit is real.
You know, yeah, right. You know what I'm saying? So lo and behold, he took us. We went, because at the time, me and O had a group. We was called the Nomads and shit. We went to the studio. He took us. We went to the studio with Irv and Mike Geronimo. Lo and behold, we go. You know, met Irv, met Mike. You know, and I just, you know, just blacked out, man. Just went in the booth and didn't want to come out. It was like, you know what I'm saying? It was like, oh shit, I'm here. Like, don't stop this. Like, why I want to keep rap. I got more rap. I got a bunch of raps. I got a book full of rap. Right. You ain't like that one? I got another one. You know, it was that kind of vibe. Right. Like I'm gonna keep rhyming all day. And Gotti just was like, yo, this little motherfucker right here he got a lot of energy. He's serious about this shit. And he got flow and he, you know, whatever. And so, you know, that's kind of how it started. And then Gotti was, you know, like, why don't y'all, all three of y'all form a group and get together? Because at the time, you know, Black wasn't a part of the Nomads. You know what I'm saying? It was like, it was our shit we was doing. And Black was Gotti's man, more so. So he was like, all right, let's figure out. He's like, we got to have the little nigga with us. You know what I'm saying? So we got to figure out how we put it all together. So you know, so Gotti kind of was like, yo, y'all should just form a group. So at the time, our favorite movie, all of us, was Cash, Nino Brown, New Jack City.
New Jack, yeah. Cash Money.
And so, and it was the Cash Money brothers, you know what I mean? So, you know, we was on the block and we had this abandoned building that was like right across the street that we used to think was the car that was, you know what I'm saying? And we used to, you know what I'm saying? So so we really was thinking we was living the dream and shit. So you know, we formed the group, we formed the Cash Money Click. And, you know, we right away we started, you know, making, you know, little records, you know, dibbling, dabbling, going more to the studio with Gotti and shit like that. I kind of like, you know, really just fell in love with everything that was around it. You know what I mean? Like
the allure.
Yeah. It was like, you know, it was like the allure of what selling drugs was, like what I thought, you know, that lifestyle would bring me, you know, the cars, the money, the jewelry, you understand? Without having to do that, without having to be that. You know, so Hollis was a unique place because, you know, you would see the big drug dealers come through, in they joints, the 850 back then, the 850 out with the flip up joints, you know. But then you'd also see DMC with the joint. LL had the joint.
Right.
So it was like, yo, all right, so maybe there's another route to that too. So
right.
Hollis was a unique place. They say what you see in your environment is what you strive to be, or what you believe you can be. If you never see nobody, if you do nothing ever from your neighborhood, you might think, yo, that shit don't really happen here. Niggas blow up from Queens, or niggas blow up in New York, But when you see it and you see these dudes can't come from the same places I come, they drink the same water I was drinking. They, they walk the same blocks I walk. I can be that.
Yeah.
So from a young, age, I really started feeling and believing like if I get serious about this music shit, I could be that. And so we formed the Cash Money Clique, and I was very, very serious about doing music from that point on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You talked about drugs, and you were famously started selling drugs at 12. Some rappers, they told drug stories, but it's not their truth. And for you, it was your real life. When did you stop and fully focus on music?
Well, it's a journey. You know what I'm saying? I came up real crazy because I came up real crazy because my grandparents, my family, they were Jehovah's Witnesses. So before that whole period before that, I was living with my grandparents. The whole story. My pops left when I was a kid. He when I was like 5, he was gone. And then, he was, on drugs, sold drugs, abusive, you know what I'm saying? But he was a baker. He was good with his hands. He was, he had good attributes. He had, but he did his shit too, and he did what he did, whatever.
Yeah.
So I didn't learn any of that from him. You know what I'm saying? I didn't learn anything from him other than how to not, what a man shouldn't be. You know what I'm saying? That's what I learned from my father. But, later on in life, I learned to love my father. That's a whole nother story. But, so coming from that was a real tough life. So when you, Jehovah's Witness religion, you shielded from everything. You're not allowed to do shit. You know what I'm saying? Like you ain't even allowed to play with the worldly kids. Like if the kids is, not in the religion, you're not even supposed to associate with them. Right. So it's like that whole lifestyle of living with my grandparents and my mom, she'd take me on the weekends and shit like that. That was my pattern. That was my lifestyle. That was what I was used to at the time. And so around the time when I was around 11, 12, my mom got what they call disfellowship from the truth, from Jehovah's Witness.
Right.
So when they disfellowship you, they banish you.
Oh, no. Damn.
When they disfellowship you, they banish you. So it's like you can't, you're not supposed to associate with them until they get reinstated. So here I am, this young kid, and really the only time I get to spend with my mother is on the weekends when she come and get me, And so that was like our time. And now that time was going to be cut because of this whole disfellowship thing. And so when that happened, my grandparents kind of stopped speaking to my mom. And, it was really a crazy moment. And so me being this sheltered, kid didn't really get to do anything while I was with them, but go out and play and, whatever. It wasn't much, but I was still a kid. Now, I made the decision to leave that shelter, that protection, that love, home, a nice house. You know what I'm saying? It was nice for what it was then, you know what I mean? But it was structure. It was a family. It was everything. And my mom was struggling, working 2 jobs, and, everything was not structured over there. So I made the decision as a young kid that I wanted to be with my mother rather than not see my mom, and it was ridiculous. And I felt like this religion, this is not for me. If this what this is about, breaking up family and this and that, and I can't see my mom. I didn't even understand it at that point at the time. I just understood it as, I can't see my mother on the weekends. I don't want to be here. And so I left to be with my mom.
That makes sense.
And it was tough from there. Everything went from, good just like I said, really structured family background. You know, my grandfather, my grandmother, you know, my uncle, my aunt, you know, that type of family environment to just me and my mom. And she was shunned. Nobody was speaking to her from the family, and she was struggling. And so now I went from that to, you know, getting evicted from, you know, apartments and lights to getting turned off, and we moving from here to here, and, you know, we struggling, you know what I mean? And I was cool with that, because it was like, yo, it was me and moms, it was me and you against the world. Fuck it, we gonna struggle, we gonna do it together. And I think that grew me up as a man really, really fast, because it was like, yo, I had to be there for her. I remember the moment, the actual moment that I realized that this is different for me now. I came home, there was eviction notice on the door. So I took the notice on the door, because you don't want to be embarrassed. You hope not too many people see the motherfucker, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I takes the shit off the door, you know what I'm saying? But I came home from school, so I was ready. So I come in, bring it to my mom's. She looks at it, you know, whatever. And then she, you know, my mom's emotional, you know what I'm saying? She's a woman. She broke down and started crying, and felt like I guess she felt like, damn, I'm letting my son down. You know, I don't know what her emotions was at the time. I gotta ask her. You know what I'm saying? But it was a real moment for me. And it was a moment where everything clicked, like, you know what? I can't sit here and cry with her. I gotta be her rock now. Even though I'm this kid, I'm, you know, like I said, 11, 12 years old. I'm like, I gotta be her strength. I gotta be her rock. I can't, you know, and I held my mother, and I let her know. I said, Ma, we gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right. I don't know how, you know what I'm saying? I didn't have a plan. I wasn't, you know, I didn't have dreams of being a rapper or anything at the moment. You know what I'm saying? I just was like, you know, we gonna make it. We gonna be all right. It's me and you, you know. So that's how I got into, you know, selling drugs, and, you know, trying to take some of the pressure off my mom's, you know, having to buy me the new sneakers. And, you know, it's the same story. You know what I'm saying? You know how I go, Ty.
Yeah. And then you in Hollis, Queens, at the time. By all accounts, Kenneth Supreme McGriff and the Supreme team he created was huge in the streets. Young hustlers is like looking up to them.
Absolutely.
Wanted to be them. When Supreme came home in 1994, he wanted to work with you and Irv on some media stuff. What do you remember from that time, and how did y'all overcome the Southside Hollis rivalry that was going on?
Well, again, you know what I'm saying? I was a young dude on the scene, like started selling drugs, started hustling young. And I used to go uptown with Chris Black and, you know, rest in peace, Blackie, you know, Black Just from the Preem team. So that was my first introduction to what the Preem team was, who they was, you know, and all of that, from going, you know, making those runs with Black and Black, with the two Blacks and shit. You know what I mean? But then when I went to high school, Pop went to school with me too. Pop was Bimmy's brother from the team. So Pop used to come to school with they used to let him drive all of their fucking cars. So Pop used to come to school every week with different whips. So me and Pop was like the only niggas from our side that went to school on the south side. I went to John Adams High School. You know what I'm saying? So I was always a nigga that knew how to move in different circles and move around and fuck with niggas. You know what I'm saying? So I fucked with Southside niggas. I fucked with Hollis niggas. So it wasn't nothing for me, you know, to be fuck with the team and you know, be from Hollis. So that's my background of how I, you know what I'm saying, you know, grew to know, you know, the team. And then when we started making music, of course, you know, you see Black Just in the video and the Get the Fortune video and shit. You know what I'm saying? So the connection was there, and Preem came home, and you know, that's how the connections was. So the connection was already there. You know what I'm saying? There wasn't no fake connection of love there, none of that. It was already there. The connection was already there. Yeah.
Okay.
Those days is the realest days, though, too, Ty. You know what I'm saying? Talib, like, man, shit. So many stories, so much history, you know?
Something about, you know, every borough has its stories and has its legends, but something about what was going on in Queens at the time, it's just like, you know, and then just all the music that documents it, all the rappers that come out of Queens. I mean, I like to say that Brooklyn got the most best rappers, but Queens, you know what I'm saying, gives Brooklyn a run for their fucking money when it comes to just all
Queens
the
got
different
a
rappers from all the
lot
neighborhoods.
You know, it's different. You know, like every borough has their attributes, and every borough has their contributions to hip hop. You know, Queens' contribution to hip hop and Brooklyn's contributions to hip hop are very, very big, but very, very different.
Yeah.
And then you have the Bronx, where it all started. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the
Don't get me
foundation
wrong.
now, obviously.
Right.
Obviously. Yeah.
But Queens and Brooklyn, what our contributions are very different. They're very deep rooted in the culture of hip hop, if you will. You know what I mean? You got on one end you have Queens where without Russell and Rush Management and what they did for hip hop, I don't know where hip hop would be.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And then you have the legendary groups Run DMC, LL Cool J. You have that history. You know, Q-Tip. You know, it's so I don't get it.
Yeah.
But then you go to Brooklyn, and their history is just as cultured. You feel me?
Yeah.
You have all of those great MCs, but then you have probably the two greatest MCs in hip hop that people, you know, like to speak of when you speak of Big, and you speak of
Big and J, yeah.
Big and J, you know what I'm saying? So Brooklyn is very, very, it's very, very, I think what those two boroughs meant to hip hop in the moments in time for them, they both had two different moments in time where it was like, this was hip hop, you know, and then I think that's the difference, you know, with us and other boroughs. You can kind of pinpoint those moments. It's hard to pinpoint those moments with other boroughs, other than the Bronx. You know, we know where it started.
Yeah,
and I can't say that Staten Island with the Woo. So you can kind of pinpoint.
Yeah, everybody got their shit, you know, and got their contribution. Yeah. Manhattan is more like uptown than it is the whole borough, you know. But yeah, everybody got their shit.
Irv Gotti and you are forever linked together. What do you want to share about the vision, business skills, and how important he was to your career?
Oh, extremely important. I mean, you know, first and foremost, I just want to say that's my brother and I love him. You know what I'm saying? We probably the only duo that's still, you know, together, you know, and rocking and strong, you know, relationship-wise. But you know we're gonna go back to when I was in that young age, you know what I'm saying, and growing up and coming up, and everything felt like the world was just, you know, falling apart. You know, it went from good shit to, you know, me being there and getting locked up for gun and drug cases and all kind of stupid shit, you know, in just a short period of time. And then, you know, then the family's really looking at me like, yeah, I knew they were the bad seeds of the family. You know what I'm saying? Look at what he's over there doing now. He's locked up there. And then to get into the music and nobody believes in you. You feel what I'm saying? Like, nobody believed. Like, even my mom was like, yeah, you know, I know you're trying to do the music thing, baby, but, you know, maybe you should go and try to get you a real job. You know, like, even your own mother is like...
Your mom wants you to be stable. She don't want you to be, you know, it's hard for your parents to see you take chances.
Because that's, you know, that's what, you know, we're taught in life is to be, you know, stable, whatever. So, Gotti was the first person that looked at me with belief, the belief that I had in me. And I was the only person that believed the shit at the time. You understand? Like,
right.
That I can be more than this nigga from the hood that just, you know, is getting locked up for fucking, you know, drugs and this and that, whatever. And he was the first person that looked me in my eyes and made me understand and believe that. And he believed in me and gave me an opportunity to do the things that I was able to do with the confidence. Going into them offices like, nah, you not understanding. My nigga is nice. You know what I'm saying? to have somebody have your back like that and be that confident in you and to be it's rare, man. It's rare. And kudos to my nigga because, you know, without him, I put it like this, yo. When you mention Ja Rule, you cannot mention Irv Gotti. You understand?
Yeah, yeah. Now Irv Gotti was
That's
also
my brother.
Yeah, he was also instrumental in the beginning of the careers of DMX and Jay-Z and putting y'all together in what was potentially a supergroup at the beginning of Murder Murder Inc.
Listen, man, brilliant idea. You know, to put the three lions together and let us roar. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the problem was the egos. A lot of egos involved. You know, and here's the crazy shit. Like, I was the low man on that totem pole at the time. I was just happy to be there. You know, I was appreciative of the moment. I was happy to be looked upon and thought of as on par. You feel what I'm saying? Up to snuff to be able to be in that situation with these two gentlemen. You understand? Jay and X, those was my brothers. You know, it's crazy. Like before we all had deals, you know, we was all on Mike Geronimo shit. You know, on his album.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
Usual
before
Suspects
Jay and X had
Time to Build.
Time to Build. Yeah, for sure. And before Jay and X had their deals, they was on our stuff with me and the clique, you know. And so I always felt like I belonged. You know what I'm saying? With them two. Even when their success came before mine, you know, I never felt like, and that's what I mean about a person having your back and you know, when you're the only person that believes in something, it's you have to you have to have a different type of tunnel vision, man. You almost have to create this like this distortion field around yourself where, you know, it's nobody's ever seen this before, nobody's ever done this before. I'm doing something that's next level out of this world, and you don't understand it. You couldn't understand it because you understand, and
you have to make the impossible possible.
Right, and that was the moment I was in when this, you know, I'm like, yo, you know, Mom, I know what you're talking about, but I'm nice. We gonna trust me. We gonna be good. You know what I'm saying? And you know, and you know, things started to when you start to see the plan come together. You know, you start to see things come to fruition. That's for me. That was the best part of it. When people always ask me, you know, hey yo, you know, Rule, what's the best part of your career? Or, you know, what's the standout moment of your career? I always tell them, I say, man, it's the journey. If you know,
not the destination,
that's
the
journey, part
that
that's the part that everybody, you know, remembers. You know, you may forget some of the things you bought and, you know, some of the awards you even won and shit like that, but you know, you never forget the journey, that struggle of what it took you to get there, those late nights and you just up dreaming, thinking, you know, plotting, you know, putting it together, you know, in the studio 12, 15, 16 hours with no sleep and no cares, you know, those moments, you never forget those moments. And me and Gotti, we shared those moments together. So, you know, those are things that will never, you know, that bond will never break.
Man, I was just watching Hard Knock Life recently, and that stands up and it holds up because it showcases everybody just at the precipice of their success, and you know, just y'all just still being excited to run around hotel rooms. It's just funny to watch, you know what I'm saying? So can you describe that time when Can I Get It was out and you had the verse on that record? That record was so huge and y'all was running around the country. Describe that time in your life for us.
It was an amazing time, you know. Can I Get It was a special record because it helped break me, you know. It helped put me there.
Yes.
You understand? I'm on the record with Hov.
Yeah.
I got the last verse. I'm
right, and there's killer verse too, man. Like you did your thing on that verse.
So So you translate that to our era. You know, if you shut down a verse in our era, you know what I'm saying? You was nice.
The lyrics
Who's this
lyrics
nigga?
was still a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They want to know who did I? You know, so you know, it was a special time, special record, special moment for me. And then the fact that I wrote the hook made it even more special for me. You know, just who's this young kid and old? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It was like an oh, you know. So
yeah.
It gave me extra notches on my belt as a writer. You know, and not just a guy that could spit 16, but this guy can actually he could craft the song. He could
It started that for you because you became known as a real songwriter.
But
I guess that was the start.
And I think that really set it off. You know what I mean? He wrote something for Hope, you know, for Jay.
Right.
So it was like, yo, okay, this kid must be official. He stamped, you know. And then we went on tour, and it was like, you know, every night I come out and I do that verse, and you could just see the escalation. They got bigger, and they got bigger, and they got bigger. You know, because back then it was all about them radio spins. So, you know, as we going from state to state, we spinning out. Them records is that record is moving heavy now throughout the country. So as we getting through states and later dates, the record is bigger and bigger, and my moment is getting bigger and bigger. Every time I come out to touch that stage, it's bigger and bigger. I'm getting more poised when I come and touch the, you know, my swag different. You know, I know how to work them. I know what words to leave out, let them sing.
Where to take the breath at and let the crowd, Yeah.
You know, and so that growth as an artist, as an MC, you know, in front of 20, 30,000 people, sometimes, you know, when it's happening in the moment, you could take that for granted, you know, like, you know.
Yeah.
But it was a big moment. It was a big moment for me and a big moment for my career. And then the dope shit was I was finishing up my album while we was on tour. So I was able to drop my first single before we left the tour. So I was able to actually start performing Holla Holla. So I do Can I Get Her, my verse, and then do Holla Holla on the later dates. And it was just, so by that time, it was really like, so by the time we got off the tour, Holla Holla had gotten to radio rotation.
We were talking about age earlier, so I'm gonna hurt y'all feelings a little bit.
That's a big record, big album.
So when Can I Get It came out, I was at PAL. Did y'all have PAL? Police Activity League? All right. I think it's only in New York. I don't know if other places had it. But I remember my mother had a heart attack because she's like, y'all shouldn't be dancing to Can I Get Her? What is wrong with y'all? She like went up to my counselors and tried to take me out of the dance. I did not know it said, Can I Get a Fuck You? I thought it said, Can I Get a what? Until maybe a couple of years ago. And I was singing the songs. I was like, I don't know any of the words to this song. So I know all the words.
Can I get a what?
That was the clean version. Yeah, it was a dirty song. It was a very dirty song, but it got a lot of commercial airplay because it was able to cross. And when I listen to it now, I'm like, this was a very dirty song. Everybody's verse was very raunchy, very.
Def Jam had it a part of the Nutty Professor promotion, right?
Yeah.
So it was Rush Hour. Okay, Rush Hour. That's what it was. Yep. So it crossed over on the movie level too. It was
absolutely.
Yeah, it was big.
It was just a huge opportunity moment for me, and the fact that I wrote the hook to the record was made everything just come full circle for me and make people look at me differently, like not just
it's just the beginning.
Another MC on Jay's album, like this kid might be official, you know. Yeah.
Now, you rolled out that album. Holla Holla made you a bigger star than you were. Then you rolled out Rule 336. Me personally, my song from that shit was Living It Up. I love Living It Up.
Dope.
You started on that album as you got successful, when you got radio hits, you started learning the radio game. You started adapting a more singing style. I want to talk, obviously we want to talk a little bit about the beef with you and 50, but musically, I remember 50 and other people making fun of you at that time for singing. And then 50 as an artist, when he started seeing radio success, he starts singing a little bit. So how did that make you feel? Yeah, a lot of it.
But it's all good, It's great, a lot of, I'm gonna clean it up because a lot of people like to think that I switched my style up to, and I mean, it was very different. But a lot of people like to think that it was like a commercial record decision, or it was you know what I'm saying? Like it was a conscious decision to make commercial records. And that's nowhere near what it was. So let me tell you the story. Let me run it back.
Okay.
So I want to tell you what was happening. So what happened? What was happening was it was two things. It was a transition period in my life. So you got to understand, my first album was my whole life.
Yeah.
Before leading up to that, it was my whole life into that album of what I've lived and what I've known and the only thing that I known was drugs and and crime, and you understand, and that's why that album had that feel to it, that undertone, because that's all I knew at that time. So let's fast forward to Rule 336. I had some success with Venni Vetti Vecci. I think the album did about 1.5 million, close to 2 million, something like that, right? I was only really wanted to go gold with the album, but it did what it did. But now the only hit off the album was Holla Holla. So I really, like what people say, I had a formula. I really didn't. You know what I'm saying? Because Holla Holla was my only hit record off the album, so I really didn't have anything.
Right.
What happened was, I make music based on what I'm around, what I'm feeling, what I'm going through, what my life is.
Yeah.
I make real music. And if you listen to my albums now, you'll understand, you'll hear it. You can hear from
hear the growth.
My life story from Venni Vetti Vecci to, for me, I'm talking about my father and Only Begotten Son, those type of records. And then, I get into Rule 336, you can hear that too, and what that is.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you where that came from. You hear success.
Yeah.
You understand? You hear, me living in this big ass mansion now and
living it up.
Living it up in
with
Hollywood
Case.
Hills.
Featuring Case.
You understand? I'm in Hollywood Hills in this fucking amazing crib, and that's where I chose to do my second album. Now, granted, this was Pac's death was still kind of fresh in the blood of LA. Like niggas still wasn't going out to LA. Like motherfuckers was like, we cool on LA. Still.
Yeah.
So I made a conscious decision to go to LA and do my second album out in LA. And I'm gonna tell you why. When I did Holla Holla, right? Holla Holla became a big hit, but it wasn't New York that broke the record. It was
California.
LA.
Yeah.
The West Coast broke the record.
Right.
So
at that point, we talking like Felly Fell in them at that point, right?
Yo, Dame Jamisa is the main. He was the program director at 106. He broke that fucking record, man. And then when you get LA, you get San Diego, you get Oakland, that
get California.
Just like the East Coast, you get New York, you get Philly, you get Virginia, you get and it trickles down the East. Same situation, but it didn't break here; it broke there. So I was like, well, damn, I'm not getting love in my own backyard like that with my shit. Like niggas is fucking with me on the West Coast. So you know what? I'm gonna go out on the West Coast where I'm getting that love and record my second album. Ride around out there, see what the West is like, just feel the West out. You know what I'm saying? Have some fun out on the West Coast. That's why I went out there and recorded my album. And like I said, it was still fresh in the out there. So we go out there. I get big ass crib, rented it for like 4 months or whatever, 5 months while I was out there recording my album. And I was also out there going to start shooting for a film, for my first film. So I'm out there and we going out every night. We go out to parties and we go out to the clubs every night. We going everywhere. We did every night. And not only we going out, we bringing the party back to the crib. And I'm talking cribs, bloods, whatever, whoever. Come on, yo, come party with. It was different. I'm telling you, we was the first niggas doing that on the West Coast like that, especially from the East Coast.
Yeah.
And so we started having these crazy events. People would come and vibe with us, and that became a part of the music. It soaked up what I was talking about, what I was going through. You know, I started using drugs. I started doing ecstasy. You hear that in the music. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You understand? You know, problems at home with me and the missus. You hear it all in the music because that's what that was at that moment. That's what created Rule 336. And the reason why I called it Rule 336, I made these set of rules. It was 13 rules that I made. And Rule 336, I made them all kind of like biblical, you know.
Yeah.
Like, you know. So Rule 336, all of the rules added up to 12, except for my 13th rule, right? So Rule 336 was he who believeth in Ja shall have everlasting life. Or love, was it? He who does not shall not see life, but the wrath of my vengeance. That's what it was. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why I named it and put that as what it was, you know, as the rule, was because still, after my second album, after I showed and proved that I belonged, motherfuckers still didn't believe in me. Motherfuckers still, even my own label, they didn't like the album.
Okay.
They didn't like Rule 336. They was like, yo,
right.
You know, you didn't protect the underbelly. There's no holla holla on the record. You know, there's no holla holla on the album.
Imagine that.
Wow.
Remember those days when the label...
Yo, so they told me to go make another album. That's what they told me. Go back and go record another album. So, you know, I'm an artist. And that's my art. I painted my picture, nigga. You don't ask Picasso to go back and fucking restroke his brush, nigga. You know what I'm saying? That's not what you do.
Right.
You understand? So, you know, I was like, you guys don't understand what this is. This is something new. This is what nobody's doing. This is the lane that nobody's in, that nobody's catering to. So the conscious decision that was made when making this album, this was the one conscious decision that was made during making this album. X was out of the stratosphere. Jay's out of the stratosphere. But these are my peers that I'm being compared to. You know, these are my counterparts of me, whether I liked it or fucking not. And X had his lane sold up. He was the streets. You ain't gonna get no grimier than X. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Jay, he had his lane, which was, you know, flash, flare, fly.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna get no fly and cooler than Jay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm from Queens. And you know, Queens niggas, we kind of somewhere in the middle. You know, we like to get our hands dirty, but we fly niggas.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
flashy and fly and all that. Yeah.
But we don't mind getting our hands a little dirty.
Yeah.
We them niggas. You know what
That's
I'm saying?
very accurate.
We not all the way
That's very
grimy,
accurate.
but, you know. Right. That's Queens niggas. So I'm like, you know, nobody's touching on the lane where I'm getting the most love at. The ladies was loving Rule. So I spoke to them in a way that nobody else was speaking to them. Not Jay, not X.
No lies are told right now.
Not nobody in the industry.
Jasmine concurs.
You sure did.
Thank you, Jazz.
She tried to hold that one in. She was like, you did.
No, I spoke to them in a way that nobody spoke to them.
Right.
You understand? And it was different. It wasn't it wasn't soft. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like, it was like, yeah.
Right, it was gruff.
I'm
it was
a real
thug love.
nigga,
It was,
and I'm making fucking, you understand?
Yeah.
And that's what it was. It was that. And let me tell you something. I know, I can understand why I have certain, you understand? I know why niggas beef with me. I know a bunch of because at that time, what I did and that vibe, that moment that I created, nobody else had a finger on it. It was all me. I was doing it. And then Nelly came with the vibe too, with those records.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Nelly was making those kind of records. But that was it. It was me and Nels. And I was the chocolate nigga doing it.
That would be a good battle.
Oh, we gonna have light skin, dark skin wars on the show this time. All right, cool.
Nah, but it was a different time and it was a different zone. So every artist out there was trying to figure out how the fuck is Rule getting all of these spins? How is Rule getting all of these? And it was the music. People didn't understand. But what people really don't understand is that I'm a student of music. The shit that I do is not by mistake. It's by design. I understand music theory very well. Once I got into making music, I started to study music. I wanted to know cadence. I wanted to know, why certain rappers are loved, because of, flow or some are spitters. And, you take a Nas. Nas is a spitter. He's a spitter.
Yeah.
Snoop, flow. His flow is immaculate. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You take a nigga like Big and Jay, and they got both of that. They got the, the flow, the storytelling.
Yeah.
It all comes together. It's like, I call it the Quan. And so when I started making music, I wanted to be the artist that had the Quan. And real talk, motherfuckers can hate on me all they want, Talib, but I can do anything on a motherfucking mic over a beat, yo.
Yeah.
Whether it be hard.
I seen that Westwood freestyle.
Yo, I'm telling you, like I can do all of it. I can do all of it. Spit hard raps, flow, make sing over the shit, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I hung my hat on, being the artist that can do anything on a mic. I remember there was a record that I forget who made the beat, but Jay heard the beat and he was like, I don't know, I ain't fucking with that. We gonna do this. Shit's hot, but it's just too much going on. You know what I'm saying? And for me, that was my challenge. Right then and there. Jay said he ain't fucking with that beat. Give it to me. Give me that beat. You know what I'm saying? I want to do something over that beat. And I think I made I think it was off my first album. It was Murder for Life. Niggas live with it, money, drugs, murder for life. You know that beat? It was real funny. It was like
Yeah.
It was like bouncing. It was all over the place. You know what I'm saying? And I figured out what to do with that beat. And when Jay heard it, he was like, you know what I'm saying? Like, all right, nigga, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
Bleak got on the record
it out
with me and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But that's what niggas don't understand. I'm a student of music. I understand that people like to hear slower music in the winter versus faster music in the summer. You understand? I know that there's a certain vibrate in your voice that when it comes across on records, it could make your hair stand up. It could give chills. It could make, you understand what I'm saying? There's certain tones and vibrations that do these things. Crescendo. You know what I'm saying? When you take a fucking cadence and take it from here to here like this.
Hello?
You know what I'm saying? Those are
us.
crowd pleasers. People like to sing along with that.
Yes.
I'm not doing this shit by mistake. This is what niggas don't understand.
It's all about design. It's all about design.
It's by design. So, it's like, I'm not, saying what I'm saying to discredit anybody out there to do what they do. Do what y'all do. You know what I'm saying? But don't discredit what I do. I studied this shit, you know what I'm saying? And I do music from the heart. I don't do this shit, you know what I'm saying? I do it from the heart. That's why you don't see me making music all the time. I don't, get in and do it because I'm not really inspired right now to make music. Not that the music out there is not inspiring me, because there's artists that make shit that make me want to go in the studio all the time. You know what I mean? It's just that I like to make music for the masses, for a lot of people to feel and love, because that's the type of music that I make. I make feel good music. So it's something about hip hop where we just like to chew each other up and spit each other out. It's like once you a certain age in hip hop, you're not allowed to make hit records anymore. You're not allowed to make that music anymore because it's deemed as a youthful music. But yeah, I'm here to let everybody know. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Hip hop has grown the fuck up. There's a lot of people that appreciate what we do, Tyler. And the older crowd,
we gotta control that.
There's an audience for it.
Yeah,
But
we gotta
there's
take
no
control of that
radio
though.
stations
Like,
for it.
yeah, we gotta create the platforms and we gotta create the outlets.
Yeah.
For this type of thing.
Just like they did rock. When they started creating, you know, easy rock and soft rock and contemporary rock. And that's what hip hop needs now. We need a whole, you know what I'm saying? We are now of a millennial genre. We make a certain type of music. We make an adult
We need some
music.
Adult contemporary hip hop.
Yeah. We need, you know, and I think it's necessary. But that, you know, that's just what it is, you know?
I agree.
Ja Rule, you definitely make hits and you definitely make feel-good music. And like I said, when I was riding through the streets and I was blasting your music, getting prepared for this interview, speaking of ladies, you have so many songs featuring women. Rappers, singers, like you a lot. You're not one to hate on the women artists, and I really commend you for that. And you know that women are going to be out here buying records. Not to talk about men, but men steal music. Women buy music. Let's just say that. You know what I'm saying? It's just a fact that I made up right now. I have no basis behind that, but that's how I feel.
Hey, women steal music too now. Don't do that. Y'all steal some music too.
Human beings steal.
You said, yes, when you said when they think of Irv, they think of Ja Rule. When I think of Ashanti, I also think of Ja Rule.
That's my sis.
You can't,
what else, sis?
I don't think of one without the other because y'all made so many amazing hits. Her first major appearance on Rule 336, you two did tracks together on your albums, her albums, and arguably it's a song together, Always on Time, that brought you both to the peak of your fame. What do you have to say about Ashanti as an artist, a collaborator, and a friend?
That's my sis, man. That's little sis. She's dope. Dope singer, dope songwriter. You know what I mean? She's, you know, it's crazy because she gets a lot of hate too sometimes, you know, for you know people. But this is the culture that we're in. You know what I'm saying? It's cool to do that, to whatever. But she's an amazing artist, man. Me and sis, we got a lot of dope history together, a lot of dope records together. We tour all the time. We still out on these streets banging, you know. But we definitely got a bond too that can't be broke, for sure.
Ashanti was actually the first celebrity that I came in close contact with. I was working at Circuit City, and she was buying something at Circuit City, and somebody asked her for her ID. And we were like, are you kidding me? This is Ashanti. Hey. She don't need no ID. And it was like a whole thing like throughout the store. Like, who the hell are you disrespecting Ashanti asking her for an ID for a credit card? So that's... Yeah, I worked at the one in Westbury at the Source Mall.
That's funny.
Shout out to Ashanti. Shout out to Irv Gotti. Yeah, shout out to everybody.
The whole Inc. family, man.
You came in the game with. Now, your situation with 50, I've seen all the interviews. You know, I've seen all the documentaries. I'm sure you've talked about it a lot. So I do have some questions about it. Yeah, but I'm gonna try to ask questions that I feel like have not been asked about it. When, you know, after he came out and he made his big splash, and both of you had amazing runs, but when he was having his moment in the sun, I feel like in the city in New York in particular, a lot of people weren't giving your music a chance because 50 G-Unit was so ubiquitous for a couple of years. Yeah. Now you came out with this record in New York with Fat Joe and Jadakiss, and you went back to sort of the holla holla Ja Rule. Do you feel like that record enabled people to pay attention to their music again instead of paying so much attention to the beef?
I don't know. I don't know because I don't know if I'll say that because the record was kind of a beef record. You know what I mean? New York was kind of
Okay, that's a good point.
The verse was kind of aimed at 50. So not kind of, it was. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I just think that was a weird moment in time for me. You know, it was really weird. It was like, but I understand it now. You know what I mean? You know, the hot new guy comes out. You know what I mean? I've been fucking killing it for, I don't know, 3 albums now or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, on every station, on everything, fucking commercials, this, that. You know, people get tired of artists sometimes. And I think when he came out and attacked, you know, my style and my character, you know, people ran with it. He was the hot new guy. He was with, you know, a juggernaut in the Scope and M and Dre and those guys and Jimmy and the whole team over there. You know, so it was a lot going on. And it was a lot of behind the scenes like shit that people don't know about too. Like, you know, a lot of exec fighting, you know, between Leor and Jimmy Iovine, you know, fighting for a position, Doug Morris position. You know, there was a lot going on that people don't really understand. You know, a really lot of shit going on. You understand? And then it just made for a difficult time for me. And on top of it all, you know, people got to understand. Here's what people love to leave this little part out of the story. Like it's not part of the story, but we're being investigated by the feds.
Yeah,
FBI,
well, that's to me a huge part of the story. We had questions about that too, because I feel like that's
the biggest part of the story. It is the biggest part of the story, because I don't know, many people have not been investigated or indicted by the feds, but they fuck your world up. They shut your shit down, and they shut down everything for Murder Inc. So people like to think it was.
That had to be
like
hard on your families as well.
They like to, but here's what people do. They like to credit Homeboy with this. Yo, nigga, please stop it. You know what I'm saying? We've seen 100 billion rap beefs, nigga. You know what I'm saying? No one man shuts down like, stop it. What really hurt us was the feds. The feds came and destroyed. I mean, when the feds come and they take all your resources. So they take your money. You understand? They make the people that are dealing with you, that you know, fund the money. They make those ties sever. So Def Jam severed their ties with us. Everybody, we didn't have anything anymore. And then this nigga's on full attack. You know what I'm saying? While we and you know, not for nothing, I don't give a fuck what nobody says. Everybody knows the real truth. The nigga was playing both sides of the fence. So you telling and you playing victim to the feds and the police, telling them, yeah, I think those guys that are with Supreme McGriff did this to me, got me shot and killed me. Those guys. You looking over there? Yeah, those guys. I'm gonna turn my head, but you know what I'm saying? And then over here you playing the bully role, the tough guy role. So it's like, you know, for me it was a very difficult moment. It was a very hard thing for me to go through when everything was crumbling. I can't really make the records that I want to make to just be competitive on a rap level. You know what I'm saying? I can't really make those records because you know, it was a bad timing for me to make those kind of records. You understand, when we under federal indictment. So you know, so by the time I actually did come and make the records, it was kind of too late. Motherfuckers was like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he already won. You know what I'm saying? It was that kind of thing. And it was like, it's all good. You know what I'm saying? You guys will never really understand the whole situation behind it. And I don't really care to explain it, because people don't care to really hear it. They want it to be what it is.
Yeah,
you know,
it's
fun. It's a lot more fun than for it to be what it is. It's very entertaining. Then to hear the truth behind of what it all is, and or to believe that their hero would do something so fucking, fucked up as point the finger over here, but play the thing, and I'm just like, yo, I get tired of talking about it. Trust me, after this interview right here, people are gonna say, "Oh, Ja, why you bringing it up?" You listen, if you don't ask Todd, I will never talk about it.
Right.
But we asked.
Well,
you asked.
yeah.
So I talk about it. And I don't, I want to make this clear too. I never shy away from the questions.
Yeah.
I don't shy away from questions. I answer all the questions honestly. I talk about my shit honestly because it's my life. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And I have no regrets of anything. I'm good. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you and me around the same age, so you might remember a show called This Is Your Life they used to be on, and they used to go into deep dives of people's lives. And I grew up in New York City listening to Gil Noble,
right.
and Combat Jack, when Combat Jack was alive, rest in peace.
Combat Jack,
yeah. This show, again, I started out when we first started talking to tell you, like, this show is not about the gossip and the trendy shit, but this show is about your life. You know what I'm saying? It's about and so this is an integral part.
You gotta have the conversation. You gotta talk about it, and I don't mind talking about it. You know what I'm saying? I really don't. It's not a big deal because I always speak my truth.
Well,
and when you speak your truth, it releases, it frees me. You know what I'm saying? Every time I speak, it makes me feel like, okay, I'm fine with that. You know what I'm saying? I said what it is, and that's that.
It's the story is when I said it was entertaining, where I was going with that, it's like the Hatfields and the McCoys. It's like some shit that a lot of people died from that shit, but now we look at that shit like, oh, it's so entertaining to see how much beef. Y'all are both fantastic entertainers, and y'all both made compelling music. So fans enjoy seeing the beef. But this started in real street shit. This started in real with people getting stabbed, people getting shot. This is people really getting hurt behind this shit. So as much as we entertain,
not me.
Right, but you have people, people, all types of situations, right? Now you a little older, right? You said I'm old now, right? We see what these young rappers are going through. We see what happened to Nipsey Hussle. We see what happened to Pop Smoke. We see what happened to King Von just recently. So what advice do you have for young rappers who are beefing, but also want to stay alive and enjoy their success and keep making music?
I mean, for me, it's never that serious. The whole beef with being 50. I never had no beef with Homeboy, so I really never. Our whole relationship started way back with Jam Master Jay, regardless of that,
Rest in peace to
I
Jay.
used to go to Jam Master Jay. Rest in peace to Jay. I used to go over to Jay's studio. Black Child was over there. He was one of his artists at the time. 50 be there. You know what I'm saying? That's how I started to notice. So I didn't. It was this whole shit is because I blew up, and I really, it's hard for me to put my finger on it. I think I don't know. It's easy for me to say, yo, he was jealous and blah 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? But I really think it started with him and Preem. Like he wanted Preem to accept him, love him. Like Preem was the big homie, and for us, for a lot of niggas
by all accounts.
And for all of us that grew up in Queens, Preem was that nigga. Preem, he was like before I met Preem, he was like the boogeyman. You just hear stories and shit. Like, these niggas was doing this to niggas, these niggas did this to niggas, Preem team, nigga. And you just hear these stories. And so the first time I ever met Preem, Preem was like my height, you know what I'm saying? But, he's stocky, but, he's not like a big he's not like and I was like, that's Preem? Like, my visions of this nigga was, this nigga had to be 6'17", with fucking weighing 400-pound gorilla style, just wilding on niggas.
Right.
That was my vision of him. So for Preem to be so attached to us and be a part of what we were, I think that hurt him in some way. And even my success hurt him in some way, because when I used to go over to Jam Master Jay's studio, he wanted to do songs with me. he'd be like, yo, let's do something together. And we just never got around to doing anything. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like it couldn't have been possible or whatever. It wasn't, it never manifested. And so I think that's where it started. And then it kind of elevated to clout chasing. Like, but back then, no. You know what I'm saying? Because he was making those kind of records like How to Rob, to gain attention. You know what I mean? To get it to, and it was all just for shits and giggles. He'd see other rappers and, he they'd be like, yo, why you put my name in How to Rob? And it'd be, it's just a song type shit. And so that's basically what it was. And even when me and him had our first confrontation, that's what it was. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I seen him. He was like, yo, it's just a song. And I'm trying to, whatever, get out, put my name out there. That's how it started. That's how our whole conversation started. So from the beginning, for me, it was never no real animosity. It was never no real, hate. And then, the theory of, well, if a nigga tried to get me shot, I'd keep my foot. This is the theory of the fans now and people, because like I said, he's playing both sides. You understand? Like, these niggas tried to get me shot. So even the fans think that and that we deserve all the shit that we, you know what I'm saying? Like, whatever. And then it's all bullshit. What the young kids say, cap? It's all cap. It's all cap. like when you, and I'm gonna just keep, since we talking, we're gonna talk, right? When you call yourself being in them streets, right? And you fuck with them gangsters, sometimes shit happens. You understand? And homeboy, he liked to, as we all know, he liked to run his mouth. You understand? And so don't blame Murder Inc. for you getting fucking popped up, nigga. You understand? Blame you for running your mouth to the motherfucking gangsters, nigga. And then when shit got hot, and those gangsters or whoever might be affiliated with these niggas over here or whatever the case may be, now it's a whole different story. Those are the things that it's like, yo, homie, when you fuck with the streets, you fuck with them gangsters, shit may manifest, shit may happen, nigga. You understand? And so, trying to put that on us, like, come on, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Come on, nigga. Like, just stop. Stop with all the antics. Stop with all the bullshit. And keep it a buck with the people, yo. You wanted to be loved by Preem. He didn't want to be a manager or whatever the fuck you wanted him to be. You probably wanted to be a part of Murder Inc. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I really don't know the whole background story to it all. But we were the biggest things, hottest things moving in Queens. And let me tell you something. The story, the legend has it. So Jam Master Jay, which was his mentor and his, that's who discovered him basically. So legend has it when I was in Cash Money Click, they was having like a big meeting in Def Jam. And me and Gotti used to do this shit called Jack the Box. So I don't know if y'all remember the box. You come on. You might go too young, Jasmine. The box come on. You pay 99 cents. You order your video. So at the time, Meth and Mary was the hottest shit on TV. Every 10 minutes, that shit was coming on. You all I need. You know what I'm saying? So Gotti was like, yo, I got an idea. Every time that shit come on, we gonna order Get the Fortune right after the shit. So we start doing the shit. Boom, 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 banging the box. So we go to, we start running out of money to do the shit on our own phones and shit. You know what I'm saying? We running up our phone bills and shit, doing the shit. So we start booking studio time to do the shit. We book studio time, blow up the studio phones. These niggas didn't have no clue what was going on at the time in the studio. But then the studio stopped letting niggas do. I think it was because of us. They got it, you know what I'm saying? So we go to
the box.
Shit. So, yeah, the box. So we banging. So legend has it. They in there having that big meeting. Jam Master Jay was the hot nigga at the time. He had Onyx, It's JMJ Records and shit was moving. They're marveling over their video, Meth and Mary. Right after it goes off, this little grainy black and white video comes on. Cash Money click. Get the fortune. And this young kid rapping in probably a one size small, too small bubble goose jacket. You know what I'm saying? Rap doing my shit.
Right.
They said, yo, Jam Master Jay stood up in the meeting and said, yo, that little nigga right there, he's from my hood. That nigga's gonna be a star. And from that moment, Leo went looking for me, Irv Gotti, Cash Money Click. And that's how we got over to Def Jam in the first fucking place. You understand?
Okay. Yeah.
And so, for me, I think it was a little bit of all of that intent. The jealousy of that, the preem, this, that. And it just all boiled into this nigga making records. We, you know what I'm saying? We see each other in Atlanta. I approach him, you know what I'm saying? We fight, you know what I'm saying? Me and my team, me and his team, we scuff them niggas up, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is, you know what I'm saying? And then it trickled into New York. When I went and looked for him at the Hit Factory. Went and found him in the Hit Factory, you know what I'm saying? His niggas was there, my niggas was there. We scuffed them up, you know what I'm saying? We did it. You know what I'm saying? So this was the trickle effect of that, you understand? And that's just what it is. And I, like I said, I still don't have any bad feelings or I don't, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is for me, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You and 50, the stakes got high. And we have two other rappers where the stakes got high, Gucci and Jeezy. And they just came together for a legendary versus, which started off really fucking shaky. Like, I was scared and I was in my living room. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to run for cover. And it ended with them performing a track together.
It did.
Could you see yourself doing that with 50? And could you imagine sitting down and breaking bread with him?
Okay, first of all, here's the difference, right? Gucci and Jeezy had a relationship. That's different. You know, you have something with a person, you have memories with that person. You know what I mean? You know, the good may outweigh the bad. You understand? With me and this nigga, it's just all bad. Like we don't fuck with each other. We don't vibe with each other. It's just, and that's fine. And that's what I try to explain to all of the fans. Like, it's okay. It's okay that we are not, friends. Cool. You understand? We never were friends, so it's fine. You know what I mean? It's not a beef though. It's like I don't have no beef with homeboy. You know what I mean? And I don't, and he doesn't have beef with me. Trust me, he doesn't have a beef with me. He just likes to talk it up because it's good for the media and it's good for it's not real. You understand? It's not real. And so, I don't feed into it at all. I just wish, I don't want to make it like I'm throwing shots, but I wish that it was a mature situation where that could happen. You understand? But I don't think the maturity is on the other side to have that kind of growth and have that kind of moment. You know what I mean? And I'm not sitting here saying I want to have that moment. You understand? Because I don't care to have it either. You know what I mean? But if an opportunity presented itself and we was in the same room, I could sit in the same room and be, and not be a fucking savage. You understand? I know. And like I said, we so way beyond that. You know what I mean? I don't think it would be an issue, but I applaud Gucci and Jeezy for what they did. Their beef is, very, very, very similar. You know what I mean? I don't want to say similar, but it has similar, similar antidote.
Similar aspects, yeah.
Yeah, with Jeezy's homie getting killed and stuff. So, it was tremendous to see it because I didn't think that was going to end well at first. I was like, why does they have so many people in the room where things could go wrong? You understand? You bring, you have Jeezy and Gucci in the room together. two sensible men with a lot to to lose.
Yeah.
Maybe you can have a moment like that, but when you add other motherfuckers in the mix, you know what I'm saying? But maybe things go left, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
I was happy that it didn't, and it was a good moment, a good teaching moment, a good learning moment for hip hop. Will me and 50 ever have that moment? Probably not. Probably not. And I'm not saying it, from my side either. It's that it's I couldn't sit in the room with the nigga. I would do a verses with the nigga. I got them hits, nigga. I put them hits on them, fix them up real quick and go out the room and leave. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think it would happen and shit. Yeah. But that's cool.
I mean, you spoke about maturity though, and I've heard you speak about when you had to sit down and you had to go spend some time in jail and how you matured in jail. You talked about learning from Malcolm X. You talked about, you talked about being in jail. You're like, I achieved this high level of success. How did I end up in this situation? And you had to take stock of your life. And so, but I don't feel like the system is designed for people who go to jail to be rehabilitated, particularly black men. Can you talk to us a little bit about your relationship with the prison industrial complex? And there's a lot of conversation around defunding the police and abolishing jails and stuff like that. Like, what's your take on some of these conversations?
Whew. It's prison is a different place, for people, for us, when I read Malcolm X's book when I was in prison, he said something very interesting in the book, and I didn't understand it at the moment, but I understand it now. But he talks about, the best place for a black man besides school was prison. And I didn't understand that until, I was in prison. And it was like I went through, as much as I had attained, as much success that I had, gained in my life, it was like I went through a stripped down period, it was like a whole transformation, because I was no longer Ja Rule in prison. I was whatever the fuck number they gave me, and that's how they wanted to treat me. That's how they wanted to let me know in every way possible that, that's what I was, inmate, whatever the fuck the number was. And so it was a hard moment for me. But here's where you break down that Malcolm quote, and put it in perspective. In his time, if you didn't get a good education as a black man, you probably could get educated in prison, self-educated. And that's a sad thing to say. But there's books in there, you know what I mean? and people are allowed to read a lot of knowledge in there, and a lot of knowledgeable black men in there that unfortunately they're in there, because these are the guys that are passing down the jewels, passing down the knowledge. Yeah. I learned so much from the OGs when I was in prison. And, we had a lot of good back and forth, because they'd be like, we learned a lot from you too, young blood, because you done things that we can only dream of doing. We in this motherfucking situation telling you how you shouldn't be in this situation and shit, and you taking that as a jewel, but, you really the jewel for us too, to just even hear how you was able to accomplish what you was, at a young age. Yeah. So it was like each one teach one. It was a dope moment for all, to learn from each other. And as black men, that's all we ever had when it came to education, is each other. It was against the law for us to learn. So, the prison institution is very much built on those things. Keeping black men in a stripped down mentality by physically breaking you. That's what prison is built and meant to do. And when you can't do that to a man, that's what Malcolm was talking about. You understand? That's that diamond in the rough. That's a different breed. That's a different man that you're dealing with. You know, and I pulled strength from Nelson Mandela, Malcolm X, because they was in the system, and Mandela was in a whole nother, type of shit. So, those nights when I used to be in my cell and I felt like, like this is some fucked up shit, it's some bullshit, and I want to just wild out and break and just be like, I think of Nelson Mandela and what he had to endure, and I pull from his strength, you know what I mean? And I'm like, all right, we got this, we good, nigga. Get up, go to the gym in the morning, work it off, you know what I'm saying? Call your wife, routine.
That's awesome.
And I was able to get through that and shit. And I also, was able to get my GED while I was in there, which was important for me to do that. It was very important for me to do that. I didn't have to do it. I was already rich, celebrity, whatever the fuck. I didn't have to, that wasn't something I had to do. But to me, it was something I had to do.
You value education.
Right.
Yeah.
I value education. And I preach it to my kids, so how the fuck I preach it and then I don't practice what I preach, so.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm very diligent on that with them, and it was important.
Shout
for me
out to your kids,
them.
by the way. Shout out to Brittany,
you,
graduated from Hampton. Your son Jeffrey went to Full Sail, like my son.
Full Sail.
Shout out to Jordan.
Jordan's going to SCAD soon in September. So all good, man. Yeah, I'm proud of the kids, man. They 100 times smarter than I was at their age. So that's a plus. That's a head start for me and them.
There's a famous joke by Dave Chappelle where he's talking about ending celebrity worship and tells a story of you calling into MTV after 9/11. He jokes, can somebody please get a hold of this motherfucker so I can make some sense of this? Where's Ja?
Yeah.
Where is Ja?
Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Dave. I gotta live
Where
this
is
joke
Ja?
down forever and ever in eternity. In perpetuity.
Unforgiven. Word is bomb.
Yeah, listen, man. Dave is such a legend, man, to be mentioned in his comedy special and the stand-up is an honor, is dope.
Is it weird to you how celebrities are supposed to be the moral compass of the country?
Yeah, it's very weird. And that's exactly what Dave was talking about. That's exactly what Dave was speaking about. But as I watched 846, and Dave said what he said, I stopped and I thought about it. I said, Dave, the joke doesn't hold up quite as it did then as it does now. Because let me just break down what the joke was about, because a lot of people think the joke is about Ja Rule. The joke's not about Ja Rule. The joke is about celebrities and how we worship celebrities. I just happened to be the hottest celebrity at the time.
Right.
So
right.
I was the motherfucker calling into fucking MTV.
Right, on MTV, right.
And Dave used me in the skit, which props, and I'm appreciative. I love that he used my name in the skit. But the joke was about celebrity and how we worship celebrity, and we care too much about what celebrities think and what we do. Hence, we have a fucking celebrity as the goddamn president. You know what I'm saying? So I get exactly what Dave was saying. The joke, it makes a fucking 100% sense. But in that moment, when I was watching 846, I said to myself, Dave, the joke don't hold up. I said, because...
I see what you're saying.
That moment was very important that we needed to hear from him. And everybody stopped and wanted to hear what Dave had to say, and it was important what he had to say, and it was very on point in the moment, and for me, that was that moment where you say, sometimes celebrities do have things that need
But
to
let
be
me
done.
add on. Dave is a celebrity because of how good he is at his art. So who we heard from was Dave the artist. The celebrity is a byproduct of the artist. But we don't want to hear from people who are just famous for being famous. But we know what Dave
Right.
Chappelle art is about. And I think that's what it is. So yeah, man, shout out to Dave Chappelle. He's so
Shout out to
important
Dave,
to what we
man.
do.
I love Chappelle.
Absolutely.
Man. Let me tell you something. Dave has a good me and 50 story too. Ask him the story.
Really? Okay, me and Dave got we got a situation we working on, and I'm gonna have him save that story for that situation. But I'm definitely gonna ask him.
Yeah, ask him that story. It's a pretty funny story. It's a pretty funny story because Dave is funny like that and shit.
Absolutely. Dave is funny like that. Absolutely. Now, you and your wife, Aisha Atkins, have been together for like 20 years now, right?
Yeah, 20 years.
Yeah, man. Congratulations.
We've been married 20 years. We've been together.
Yeah.
I don't know, 20,000 years or some shit like that.
Well, well, first of all, congratulations on that.
Yeah,
and like
my
Jazz
brother.
said,
Thank you.
Like Jazz said, you've always shown the women so much love. And we just wanted to open the door for you to give your wife her flowers because I think it's important for us to see the type of black love that y'all display publicly. I'm sure y'all display it privately, but y'all grace us with the public, with showing us the ups and downs, the real relationship.
Yeah.
They be hating on wifey too. Hold on, let me just get this straight. My wife is black, okay, ladies and gentlemen. Not that makes a difference.
Let's go.
But then we give my wife shit and she don't like it, man. She's
Let's go.
Let the motherfuckers know I'm black, okay?
Yeah. I mean, that's a real thing you said, though. I mean, there's people, the idea of blackness and the concept of like flat blackness is gaining traction on the internet. But that's just the fringe of our community. People who grow up in the black community for real know that we come in all different shades and come in all different forms. There is
black
no
women,
all that.
black women, brown skin, we're all different. We all, but we're black people, all of us. You know what I'm saying? And that's the beauty of black. We can be different shades.
Absolutely.
All black is beautiful. Let's just
our
go ahead
culture
and
is
say
very,
that.
very, very dope in that
Okay.
way.
Yes.
Word.
We need to get out of this colorism shit that we in, man. I hate it. I hate the black, the black versus light skin shit. I hate it. You know what I mean? We all make jokes and shit sometimes and shit, but it's crippled our culture for many, many years. Along with other things, but yeah, that we definitely need to get above that. We all beautiful black people, no matter what shade, no matter what color.
Word.
All right. So this was top news in social media. Literally everyone was talking about it. The idea of Fyre Festival wasn't terrible, but it was clearly poorly executed. Looking back, what level of accountability do you want to take for that fiasco?
Okay, let me just say this, right? Let me just say this. I take accountability in the fact that, it was not delivered the way it was supposed to. I feel like I could have, I should have, I don't know. I don't know what I could have did differently, but I felt like, if I was more on top of it, maybe things could have turned out different, but I really don't feel that way. I don't feel that way. And here's why I've come to grips in understanding something. And here's what I've learned. Even if the festival would have went off without a hitch, like been the dopest shit like we wanted it to be, Billy still committed a crime. He still frauded the investors. He still lied to the investors. He still doctored paperwork to say this and that he was worth whatever the fuck he said he was worth to get money from investors. That was the crime. And that's what for me, that was the end all, the be all. Because even if we was able to pull it off, that was still what was done to pull it off. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, when we talk about it, it's like, damn, man, yeah, I'm fucking crushed that we didn't get to pull off the dope festival that I knew it could have been and that I wanted it to be. But people want me to take accountability for the crime. I'm not taking accountability. I'm never going to do that because I don't. I've been to fucking jail, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you did your time already.
Back,
You took
nigga. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going back because I'm trying to do a fucking festival. You know what I'm saying? And be great for everybody, for people to love and shit. Like, you kidding me? You know what I'm saying? No.
Right.
So, do I feel bad, terrible about the Bohemian people that went through what they went through? Of course, man. But see, you know what's so crazy? Because this is the part that they want to leave out of the motherfucking documentary. When I went down there, I had to fire like 2-3 people because some of the Bohemian dudes, they was acting like, it felt like borderline like racist, like shit towards the Bohemian workers. You understand? And I was down there standing up for the Bohemian workers and shit, and I didn't like the vibe of that. So, it was a lot of little bullshit that I didn't really like, too, that was going on within it. That was one of the things, but that's a hiccup that happens, in working and in business, and shit happens, and you cut out the cancer early and you keep moving. But those little things are things that it's like, man, that will let people know the character of who Ja Rule is. You understand? Like, I'm not gonna let nobody disrespect my people, even in a small, minute way, just what that was. You understand? Like, me and the dude was about to fight. You know what I'm saying? Me and the white dude over what he said, and he was trying to like pass a joke off. Like, I felt like he was trying to pass the joke off in front of me, in front of all the rest of the white dudes, but he was saying it about the Bohemian people. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, who the fuck stop the brakes. Who the fuck is you talking to, yo? Who the fuck is you talking about? You understand? And that's what's it. So, but and that was on tape, but they didn't put it in the video. But I'm like, y'all should have put that in the video because my black people would have known right then and there. You know what I'm saying? Ja Rule for his people, nigga. He not playing with games with these motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying?
But that goes back to that entertainment shit. That shit goes back to the entertainment shit. It's like sometimes our pain is very entertaining to people.
Yeah, it's cool though. I don't have no regrets of anything. I wish it would have been, the great festival it could have been, but it was a great learning experience for me. I learned a whole lot.
I've heard you say that you didn't watch the documentary, and it's been a global pandemic, brother. It's like did you have too much things in your Netflix queue?
There's so much good shit to watch. You know what I'm saying?
It's this guy. Tell him, did you watch it? Do you remember the guy that was talking about the sexual favors for the water bottles?
Who, Andy?
I heard about that. That clip was the clip when everybody's seen that clip. Yeah. So.
yeah. Of course. I found it. I didn't watch the Hulu one. I watched the Netflix one. I found it entertaining like everybody else. But yeah, there was some real problems, and it was like it's a lesson. It's a lesson. But here's the thing: you were on the Breakfast Club. And you made an interesting point that I think got missed. You made a point, and I want to hear you talk about it, about how festivals like Rollin' Loud and other festivals that got white faces attached to them that deal with serious violence and drug problems at their festivals. Nobody's making multiple documentaries about the moral shortcomings of these type of festivals. It's almost like they was making this documentary to pin it on the black dude. I had never heard that take before. Can you speak to that?
It's a red flag goes up anytime for me when I see, one set of people being treated one way and another set of people being treated another way. No matter how small, no matter how minute, I gotta fucking look at it, and the little red flag gotta go. I gotta ask the question. Not saying that that's what it is, but I gotta ask the question.
Right.
There was a festival, another festival, after Fyre Festival. Now, I want to tell you about my Fyre Festival. It was about 1,000 people that made it to the island at Fyre Festival. Not a lot of people that got to actually be on the island to, whatever, right? That actually seen what was going on at the island. There wasn't a lot of people that went through the whole deal.
Right.
So there was another festival that happened out overseas somewhere, and I was actually on the bill for this festival to perform. A lot of artists were. I was in the fucking air, landed. So this shit was far, far away, like in another country. You know what I'm saying? I'm over there, and the festival got canceled on some crazy shit. I don't know what happened. But everybody starts hitting my phone. Yo, it's some Fyre Festival shit going on. Everybody saying, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, it's Fyre Festival. But the crazy shit is, right? I'm still getting picked for that shit. You know what I'm saying? But the crazy shit is, it was over 100,000 people at this festival. Like, there was a lot of people at this festival. And from what I'm hearing, it was like, it wasn't even set up right. There was nothing there. There was no, you know, it was like a fucking and these people started destroying the property, destroying the stage. It was like all kind of shit. People got hurt, all kind of shit. You probably never heard about it, right? I was out there.
Right.
Tory Lanez was out there on the ground. Ashanti, a bunch of artists. It was like they had Rihanna. This was the biggest roster I ever seen in artists performing. Migos, everybody, Cardi B, they had everybody performing. Shit didn't
Of course,
go off right.
We ain't hear about
and
it.
they investigated those guys and whatever, and everything. Yeah, about it. It wasn't a big, wasn't a big to-do. Wasn't no documentaries made. Wasn't no, whatever. But I get it, it's the sensationalism of it all, with me. But, listen, man, I'm smarter than the average bear, man. And, when I went to jail, I got into reading. Reading became my shit, man. I just read every fucking day, man. I make it my business. I did 2 years, and I did state time and fed time. So, I made it my business to work out every aspect. I said, in jail, niggas got a saying and shit, where you make every part of your body a weapon. You know what I mean? Mind, body, so everything. So you work out. Yeah. You work out your body, and you go read the books, you work out your mind. You know what I'm saying? So your whole body's a weapon. Yeah. And
Absolutely.
I got into that. I lived that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't miss a day in the gym. I ain't fuck if I was sore, hurt. I hurt my back. I was in that motherfucker with the hurt back trying to get some work in.
Yeah,
it
man.
Ain't matter, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I just got one more question for you, Ja. Thank you for blessing us with your presence on this show. We were excited to have you as a guest. It's been a wonderful conversation. And I got to ask, what's in the future for you, whether it's this 12-12-12 record? Talk to me about the Icon app, or, I know you've said that the Fyre Festival as an idea is something that you wanted to continue to do, but just get with the right partners. So tell me what you have future plans for in music and events.
I got a lot of stuff going on. I got my Iconic Sound imprint for music, which I'll be dropping my music on there. My son's music. My son makes music too, so I'll be putting his stuff out through there too. That's if he wants to. You know how these kids. He may want to create his own shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I got
my
this,
son.
Pops,
both
I'm
my
good,
kids.
I'm good.
Look, both my kids do music, and they don't want no advice from me. They're like, you on that old shit.
He don't want it either. He don't want none from me either. It's cool. I'm good. I'm good with that. I'm good with that. So I got my Iconic Sound imprint where I really want to focus on, getting the hottest young talent, independence. And what we do at Iconic Sound, we more or less your management label. So, we're going to be a distribution, but, you still own your masters and you own all your publishing and everything. That's all yours. We treat you more like a entity, like you're like you are the business, how it is for real. And we take a percentage of you, of the thing, of the artist. You know what I mean? So we basically become your partner. So we'll take, 15, 20% and rock, till we don't rock no more. And then you go on and do you. If you're not happy with my services, what we do here at Iconic Sound, go ahead. And that 20% is now back to you. And you know what I'm saying? And then because the music business is changing in so many ways. Artists don't need a label to make them hot. You understand? They need a label to nurture them as artists, like they used to do back in the days, what we used to do. They need that management. Yeah. They need that, that label, that surrounding, that structure that's teaching them how to, be a great artist, not a good artist, a great artist. Stage presence, the whole shit. You know what I'm saying? Yes. How to carry yourself in certain situations, how to move out here. All of that shit is missed in the industry. It's like the Wild Wild West. So, and not just that, but, finances, teaching them what to do with their money, how to, place their money, stocks, bonds, whether it be, investments or whatever the case may be. So that all of those things are what Iconic Sound will help deliver for, whatever talent that's on the roster. So that's that. And then, I have my film division, Fixate Features, and I have some good stuff coming out of that. I actually created a dope show off of everything that happened with the Fyre Fest. I realized that people are fascinated with the whole con of what that was. Even the celebrity part of it is sensationalized, but the con too. The con part of it is what people really wanted to dig into. That's why the docs were made, because they wanted to dig into what Billy did and those things. So that got me thinking. Like, wow, you know what? That could be a series. So I created an anthology.
Wow. I would definitely be watching that.
It's about the greatest cons in American history.
That's
just in history.
I'd watch that.
Oh, thank you. And it's a scripted series, and every season it's a different con, and you can kind of dig in and dissect the whole thing. So that's really cool. And I got a great team working with me on that. I don't want to put too much out there and tell who the team is and everybody, but what up, fellas? We riding, man. I ain't say too much, fellas. I love y'all. And then I have Icon, my platform that I created, which is a tech platform. And, all this stuff is under my umbrella, my ICE Corp. ICE Corp stands for Innovate, Create, Entertain. And so I went from Fire to Ice.
Fire to Ice. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, and like I said, it stands for Innovate, Create, Entertain, and that's basically what the mantra and what I'm trying to do with all of my companies. And Icon is really unique in its own because we were speaking about Patreon earlier, where if people are not familiar with Patreon, it's a great platform. It allows creatives to be compensated for their content, which is really dope.
Yeah.
But what I created with my platform was a little different. The first thing I wanted to do was get into the booking industry and solve, the issues with the booking industry. I mean, I'm sure you can attest to this, Tyler, but by the time we get a deal from a show, it's 10, 20% of less of what it should be because there's 5 people in the middle that had to get their palms greased to get the deal to us. So I wanted to create a real B2B kind of platform for artists to be able to take control of their booking, the booking aspect of their career. So now
that was the most interesting part
of
the app for me, the Fyre app.
Thank you. Yeah, so
connecting with the bookers.
Yeah, connecting straight with the bookers. That was the thing. So now that is that was turned in. I rebranded it now. Is Icon also does that as well. But what I'm launching really, really soon is my Icon Live platform component to Icon. And so I brought it all around full circle. So now this is how this works. And it works so beautifully together. So Icon Live brings the consumer together with the talent in a different way. Now talent is allowed to monetize their content. Like we could have charged for this motherfucker. We could, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
We could have said, yo, Ja Rule and Talib Kweli is going live, and it's gonna be $1.
Right.
And they would be scrolling on Icon, and we would be in the feed. But when they hit it, it'd be like a lock on it. When they hit it, it'd be to unlock this feed, it's $1. You hit it, but that, these are the things that I wanted to unlock for the talent, the artist. I seen, during the pandemic, artists would go on and they, got the third party, DJ D Nice, he's DJing on the shit, and then people wanted to tip D Nice, and they had to go through the third party, and I'm like, damn, it's a lot to go through all of that for people, you know what I mean? But if it was very convenient, I'm sure they would have no issue with doing that, you know what I mean? So I wanted to create that for people, during this time, and so I kind of pivoted into that, and I created the platforms are now combined. So now when you go on Icon, you can go live, you can get paid to, charge for your lives, you can, get tips within your live, you could fucking get booked to do private lives or events. So there's a book now button on your page. When you hit the book now button, it takes you to an option where you can either go, book for a live session, and that could be anything from, yo, Talib, wish the kids a happy birthday, or whatever, or, fucking, wish the kids just good luck at the game, whatever the case may be, that type of shit, happy birthday, happy anniversary, whatever it may be, but it's live, right then and there, and it's just a really great platform for artists to monetize their content, and to really for independent artists to take control of their brands and be their own boss in many ways. Yeah.
Well, we appreciate your efforts in that space. I, for one, appreciate you taking your platform and trying to use it to help other artists who don't have the same access to the same relationships, the same experiences, and it's a wonderful thing. And the People's Party.
Thanks, bro.
For coming on and sharing your time.
Man.
Ladies
Much
and
love,
gentlemen,
man.
it's Ja Rule.
I appreciate
from
y'all,
the People's
man.
Party.
Much love, baby.
Thank you, brother.